meetings in order. Mr. Bond, please pray to us.
Heavenly Father, please be with us today as we discuss all the works of St. Pete College. Please bless the administration and faculty as they continue their life's work in changing people's lives. In the Lord's name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Dr. Law, I'm going to go a little bit out of order this morning and ask that you introduce our new trustee.
With great pleasure, we announce the appointment of Laureline Westing of Palm Harbor to the Board of Trustees of St. Petersburg College. Ms. Westing is an attorney with Laureline Westing Law Offices, PA. She has earned her Juris Doctorate from Stetson University College of Law and her MBA from Stetson University Graduate School of Business. After leaving the Pinellas County State's Attorney's Office in 1999, she's been zoning and permitting cell towers and other type towers throughout the state of Florida. She is the wife of Sheriff Bob Gualtieri, and they have 3 children, ages 24, 22, and 8. Ms. Westing was appointed in September 2013. Her term expires in May 2017. I've had a chance to meet last week. We had a very good meeting, and that introduction doesn't do justice to her ongoing commitment. She's already working with some friends and neighbors, helping students find their way through our college, to our college, and has a variety of experiences with us, and we are delighted to welcome her to the Board of Trustees.
Thank you.
Do you want to say anything?
Well, welcome to the board. I think I'm fairly new myself, so good luck, and if I can be of any help, please let me know.
Vice Chairman Fine?
Just welcome.
Welcome to the board. Thank you so much for wanting to serve, and we look forward to working with you. Okay, so we'll go back to our presentations and resolutions. There's none of those. And now we have a National Eagle Award.
Yes,
I
I would like, I see Jim Wechter is going to make a brief introduction, but we're hosting some visitors, some of our business partners. Jim, if you would.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, board members, Dr. Law. I'd like to introduce representatives from the A.D. Morgan Corporation to talk to us on behalf of the recently completed Ethics and Social Science building at the Clearwater campus. Mr. Dave Wade, Director of Marketing, Mr. John Califf, Vice President of Operations, and Ms. Rebecca Smith, owner and founder of A.D. Morgan Corporation, if you will. Here or there, Rebecca?
Here.
That's fine, either one.
Sure.
Thank you.
Good morning, everybody.
Are we turned on here? Hang on one second. Are we good to go? Thank you. Go ahead, Rebecca.
Good morning. It is truly our pleasure to be here with you this morning, celebrating one of the finest buildings as recognized by the Associated Builders and Contractors. It is a regional evaluation that's done of all the buildings completed in the last building year, and the Social Science and Ethics building on the Clearwater campus, as seen in this brochure in front of you, was selected as the most outstanding in its category for many, many reasons. Not only is it absolutely gorgeous, but it is state-of-the-art in so many ways, whether it be technology, the fact that it is a LEED gold facility, and all of the elements that those of you who have been in the building are certainly aware of. And we want to share with you this Eagle Award, which was presented to us by the Associated Builders and Contractors at a huge, big event. And we asked that they commission a second copy of that award for you all to display wherever you like, because part of what makes your project so beautiful and part of what makes the ethics project an award-winning building is the effort of the team. So it's not only the A.D. Morgan Corporation that receives the award, but it is all of your staff that really was such a large part in making this project become a reality in its beautiful state that it is. Jim Wechter, James Petticone supporting us in the field, Harvard Jolly, who designed a beautiful building to begin with, and not to mention the subcontractors and the individuals who have done so much to make this part this project an award-winning project, and we thank you for that. So celebrating our 25th year in construction, we thank the college very much for 15 years of working with you, not only at the Clearwater campus, but at many of your other campuses, and you all certainly are embedded in our heart and our soul. It's with great pleasure that we present this award to you and continue to support the foundation as you continue to educate all of these great students in many of the buildings that we built, and certainly all of your college campuses. So we thank you very much for your time and attention, and appreciate so much the opportunity to be a part of St. Pete College.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you so very
You've been
much.
a great partner. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you. How nice. Okay. Wow. If the choice was, I would happily put this in my office, but if you have any of those big screen TVs left over from that project, I'd much prefer 3 or 4 big screen TVs, okay,
Got it.
especially in World Series time. Well, this is very nice. I should tell everybody, Rebecca took a personal interest in this. We were at one point holding our breath to make sure it finished on time. She took a personal interest, and it finished in grand style, and I'm deeply appreciative for that. A.D. Morgan has been a contributor to our foundation over a long period of time, and now we have something to remind us of all
There
of
you
that.
go.
So thank you all
Well
very much.
deserved.
Okay, thank
Well
you.
deserved.
Very good.
Thank you all so much for your time this morning.
All right, thank you so much. Comments by board members? Let's go around. Mr. Oliver, any?
None.
I just wanted to state I had an opportunity to attend representing the board at the support organization, the foundation. And I can't tell you the good work that Francis is doing, redeveloping that entire board. And I look forward to good things to come in the upcoming years, and the people that they're attracting to serve on that board. Should be exciting for the school.
That's great. Good to hear. Ms. West? Nothing today? All right. I want to ask Mr. Oliver and Mr. Lang to give us, I know that you guys have been involved in the negotiations for Midtown, and I want to ask for kind of a quick update, if you have one.
I have personally not been involved, Mr. Chair. I have had some conversations with Dr. Law kind of after the fact. I don't know how many meetings they've had, but I have not personally been a part of the negotiations.
Okay, Mr. Lang?
As you all know, we're at the stage that the contract now needs to be negotiated with and brought back to the board for approval. They're working in a very cooperative manner. I'm not personally involved with it, but I have been checking regularly with Suzanne, and she keeps me up to date. I had a call from Brian just yesterday. My understanding is that they look close at having finally a price base that is workable in both sides' minds, and the document seems very close to being completed.
Okay. Dr. Law, at the last meeting, I thought that Mr. Oliver was going to be involved in this so he could bring back the board some recommendations. If we are not done with this,
No. I'm sorry. I think you and I are on exactly the same page. My report is a little later in the agenda, but we are now in a very recognizable territory, okay? After the board took action last time, Lima Construction met with us. We set some timelines. They submitted their first estimate of GNP. That was dutifully forwarded to Mr. Oliver. We've been in contact with that. This is in the normal range of doing business. So it is my anticipation that as we bring the contract with you, we'll bring you the update. You had asked for a summary of the process to date. Is that not what you had wanted?
well, I
So
just
that we
wanted to
could
go
move
through the
forward
whole,
from that.
I wanted Mr. Oliver to go through the whole process so he could come back and give us recommendations through the whole process. And if the process is still going on, then we need to have him involved in the process. Just to, even if we're looking from the back of the room to say, afterwards to say something to you about whatever, and then bring us back a summary of the whole process, and then to say, here's what I saw, and here's what I recommend, then you two get together and bring that back. But if he's not involved in the meetings, then there's no way he can do that. So I guess I want to be clear about that. That through the process, Mr. Oliver and you are the co-chairs. Expect for you two to be involved in the entire process until it ends. So I don't want to, I'm thinking he's going to give me a report today on what's going on. He's saying he hasn't been involved in the meetings except for phone calls. So I think we are on different pages here. So let's figure out how to get that one going in the right direction. I don't know what direction we're going in, but well, go ahead and do your report, and maybe that'll bring us up to.
No, I've already given my report. Mr. Chairman, there's been one 30-minute meeting. I met with Jonathan. From that report, when they made a submission that was forwarded to Mr. Oliver, we had a phone conversation. I'll meet with Mr. Oliver if he wants to devote the time to sit in the day-to-day staff meetings. I'll let him make that choice.
Well, I don't want him sitting in staff
direction,
meetings.
but that's where
I don't
we
want
are.
him sitting in staff meetings, but I do want him a part of the negotiations. So we'll move on. Any other? Ms. Bello, good morning.
Good morning,
How
sorry.
are you? Do you have any comments this morning?
Not yet.
Welcome. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting of September 17th?
So moved.
Second.
It's probably moved in second. All signify by saying aye.
Aye.
None opposing. The meeting minutes are approved and accepted. Mr. Lang?
No report, the chair.
Ms. Gardner?
Good morning. I
Good
have no
morning.
report.
Okay. Dr. Gordon, Midtown, downtown.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman.
Good morning.
Members of the board, Dr. Law. For our new members, I'm Dr. Kevin Gordon, Provost for the downtown and midtown campuses. This morning, I'll be giving an update on activities and data for the downtown and midtown sites. First, we'll look at over here, the graph is a snapshot of our fall enrollment, and it's comparison fall to fall of the actual head count of students that are in the two buildings. And that's about 34 students up from last year. Next, we have a graph here that does a comparison of student success rates, and it compares last year's student success rates to the student success rates after the implementation of the college experience. So I want to highlight that we've had some positive growth in our success rates as a result of the college experience. The last thing I'd like to highlight are our partnership initiatives down here. The first two that we'll look at are the internship partnerships that we've had with the Pinellas Opportunity Council and Professional Opportunity Program, which is a program that targets high school students at Gibbs High School. So we've had, over the last couple of summers, we've had interns from both those programs that have worked in our learning centers as well as our student services areas, getting experience in those areas and learning a little bit more about the college. The first picture we have here is the Cecil B. King Summer Enrichment Program. That program takes place at Midtown. And this picture here shows students that are from grades 8 through 12 at the Criminal Justice Center on 49th Street. That program focuses on critical thinking and goal setting. So we're very excited to be working with those students every year. The next picture also of Midtown is our partnership that we do with the Boys and Girls Club as well as Melrose Elementary. Our students that are in Phi Theta Kappa do tutoring with the elementary students from Melrose Elementary. So we're excited about that partnership and looking to gear up for that again. Last picture is the Summer STEM program. That's a partnership with Junior Achievement that targets high school students from Boca Ciega and Gibbs High School, where they work on science, technology, engineering, and math initiatives through Junior Achievement. And that occurs every summer, so we're looking to forge ahead with that one once again when the summer comes. That concludes my presentation this morning. Are there any questions?
Board members have any questions for Dr. Gordon? Thanks, Dr. Gordon. Great
Thank you.
report. We're down to Sharon Sutherland. Hey, Dean, how are you? Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Dr. Law. My name is Dr. Sharon Setterlin, and I am the Dean of the College of Computer and Information Technology. And what I'd like to talk to you today are about career pathways and how students move along the achievement line in the IT programs here at St. Petersburg College. Many students entering our program enter with what we call accelerated credit mechanisms. That can be industry certifications, experiential learning, dual enrollments. The first step along the achievement line then is certificates. We have 13 technical certificates that students can they have options to work with. They are embedded in our AS degrees, of which we have 5. We have computer networking, programming, technology management, web development, and then students have options to move along the achievement line into our baccalaureate program. If they have completed the AS degree, they must take 15 to 21 Gen Ed requirements, and that will bring them to the AA. And if they are AA students entering our program at that time, they must take 21 technical credits, and that we guide them towards the certificate at that time. Moving along into the baccalaureate program, which is the technology development and management, students have 4 options. They can do data analytics, security assurance, software development, or project management, which also gives them an advanced technical certificate at the end of that program. The beauty of the achievement line and the career pathway that we have set up is that students have opportunities to go on and off the ramp, if you will. They can come in, get their certificate, go out, and they can come back at a later time then to enter AS programs and so on down the line. Supporting this entire program is an excellent advisory committee, and they have broken into 4 subcommittees. One is program review and assessment. What do businesses need, and is our curriculum satisfying that need? Moving on then to career assessment. It was wonderful that they work with preparing students for careers, and with our faculty have designed a checklist for our portfolio system. Added to that is they help us develop internship and apprenticeship programs throughout the local community. And then community relations, this is really our marketing piece for the program, where we get involved and the advisory committee gets involved in clubs and events. So that's my presentation on the College of Computer and Information Technology career pathways. If you have any questions.
Board members, any questions? Thank you, Dean.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Last, surely not least, Dean Hartman. Good morning, Dean. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Good morning,
Morning.
Mr.
Welcome.
Chairman, board members, President Law. My name is Dr. Kim Hartman. I am the Dean of the College of Education, and this 13-14 academic year is a year of big change for the College of Education. We are looking at state and national standards. We are looking at how our accreditors are changing what they require from us, and of course our increasing stakeholder accountability. While we look at any changes in the College of Education, we always do so through the lens of student success. And for College of Education, that's not only success while they are with us, but their career success is when they hit the classroom. What do they do with K-12 students, and how do they prepare K-12 students to enter the workforce or to enter college? So that's another way we measure success. As we're looking at state and national trends, we understand that we need partnerships. The College of Education has many, many partnerships, but we know that these partnerships will strengthen our curriculum. One partnership that we are piloting this semester is with a local elementary school. We have one of our college classes meeting on the campus of the elementary school. When our students are finished with their class, they immediately go into the classroom, so that gives them the opportunity to put theory into practice, but it also gives those elementary students a chance to see college students and to understand that college may not be frightening, that it's actually something that they can do because it's right there with them. We are also, another initiative that we will be piloting next fall is a year-long internship. So our students will be placed with the same teacher in the same school and the same students the entire year, which will help them be better prepared as they enter the workforce, but will also provide a service to the elementary, middle school, secondary schools, because there will be an extra adult, an extra set of hands, and there will be more support for the students. As we remain informed about any of these changes, we take this job very seriously. We know that as we prepare our teachers, we are also preparing for the future. So we are positively responding to change. We are looking at what's happening in the local school districts and how those changes can affect us, all through the lens of positively pursuing student success for college students and K-12 students. Do you have any questions?
Board members, any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you. We're down to new business action. We have report and information on student success and achievement.
Good morning, Mr. Chair.
Good morning.
Members of the board, Dr. Law, how are you? It is great pride that I stand before you this morning and share with you the success that we have had in achieving the Title III grant. Last summer, you gave us permission to apply for this grant, and we received the grant, and we're very pleased to do that. This morning, I'll share with you briefly what that means. So from the U.S. Department of Education, we received $2.2 million, which will be dispersed over a 5-year period of time. Our main focus is to enhance student achievement, persistence, and retention rates. The grant will be led by Dr. Linda Hogans. So student success is not new to St. Petersburg College. We've been working on this for the last 2 to 3 years with the college experience. So I want to just briefly go over what that means for our new board members. SPC takes very seriously the success of our students, and we want to help them start strong so that they do well in school from the beginning. New student orientation is something that's required for all of our first-time in college students who test into one or more developmental coursework. This is for face-to-face or on-campus new student orientation. We are now working in an integrated advising system, which is not only working with, here are the courses you take, it's also who are you? How many credits would you like to take? Who would you like to become? What are your goals? It's more than just sort of like a canned speech with an advisor where we get to know the student personally. We get to know them personally also by helping them create a learning plan, which is their roadmap for academic success, so that when students know where they're going and why they're here, they are more apt to be successful. And that learning plan provides them a roadmap each semester, and they can plan out throughout their entire academic year. We want students to succeed, and so sometimes we have to find out early on how they're doing, and we do that through the early alert system, where faculty can let an advisor know how a student is doing in class, what's going wrong, and how we can intervene early on. The alert system right now is only in our developmental coursework and 9 designated college-level gateway courses. And then the last thing the college experience includes at this time would be an enhanced out-of-class support services, where we provide students with enhanced tutoring. We have our faculty dedicating a lot of their office hours in the tutoring center to help students with learning. And we have improved the system to where students are encouraged to come before they get into trouble to keep them from getting into trouble. It's a very inviting environment so that students can learn and do well. So you may say, well, why are we doing the Title III grant? I mean, we have the college experience going on. Well, right now, with the Title III grant, we will be able to integrate all of these processes and systems, which are right now kind of working separately, and tie a bow around it. One of the things that the Title III grant will help us with is to create a very fluid communication plan, which will allow us to not over-communicate with students, but communicate meaningfully with them and with each other throughout the college. It will also help enhance our training program that we will be providing here. So the primary components, we talked about a good enrollment system. We're going to try to improve our online new student orientation, our face-to-face new student orientation, our student coaching system, and so forth. We're working on improving teaching and learning, so faculty and staff will have enhanced training and more support to provide students with help in class, and again to integrate our support services. So what are the promises we've made to the Department of Education? We said that we would improve achievement, persistence, retention, and graduation. So for achievement, we want to make sure that our students earn grades A, B, or C in the coursework. We want to improve that by 20% in our gateway classes. Gateway classes are college level. Dr. Law, you?
No, I was going to describe the gateway classes, please.
Gateway classes are college level courses. They're beyond there are main courses that most students have to take, and they struggle in those classes. So they're beyond the developmental coursework. Our persistence rate, those students who start in the fall and return for the spring, we want to increase that by 15%. Retention would be year to year, fall to fall. How many students who started this past fall will come back next fall? And then our graduation rate. Those students who earn their certificates and degrees, we want to increase that by 10%. So the Title III grant we talked about, the budget itself is $2.2 million over a 5-year period of time. We will receive about $440,000 to $450,000 annually over that 5-year period. But to sustain the hard work that we will do and the successes we make in Title III, we're going to have to institutionalize some of the systems, processes, and staff. We are working on a CRM, which is sort of like a communication system that we are going to need to manage our communications with students and staff. We're going to need to sustain that. This chart shows you how we can sustain the 3 main personnel roles here at the college over the 5-year period of time. The first 2 years, the college will not have any financial responsibility to add to that. But years 3 through 5, we will gradually own some of those costs for those positions, so that in year 6, those positions are institutionalized into the college. So every year from year 3 to 5, we will be adding these to our budgets, so they'll be a part of the budget processes here at the college. So what are our next steps? Today, immediately after the Board of Trustee meeting, we will be hosting our kickoff celebration upstairs, I believe in room 203. Let me double check. 304. We will be hosting that, and we would love for you guys to stop in. You'll get to celebrate with us and see a little bit more detail about the grant and where we're going. We are advertising the positions for the staff. That's what's coming up. We've already put those out. They're open, I think, for the next 3 or 4 weeks. We're developing our website and putting our committees together to get things going here at the college. And that is a brief overview of the Title III grant. May I answer any of your questions?
Ms. Weston?
I'm going to break my own rule. I usually have a 3-meeting rule where I keep my mouth shut.
Uh-oh.
If you go to page 5, what are the current, we've talked about what the increase, what the goal of increase is, but what are the current rates? What is our current rate of achievement, persistence, retention, and graduation?
Oh, that's a great question, and I don't have that in front of me right now, but I can get that back to you. I'm
Shoot me an
sorry.
email. I'm just curious.
I should have thought of that.
You'll get it back to her, Dr. Williams?
Yes, I
Yeah,
will.
we capture that every day. I mean,
We do.
We do. We just don't have it
I'll
in
get
front
that
of
to you
us.
before the end of the day.
Any other questions? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Williams. Ms. Sabino, here she is.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, and
Good morning.
Dr. Law. My name is Diana Sabino, Executive Director of Marketing and Public Information, and I've been working on a communications and outreach plan, which I would like to share with you this morning. I took a look at our current state of communications and did a root cause analysis. From there, I was able to determine that we need to have personalized, relevant, and timely communications implemented for our prospective and our current students.
Ms. Sabino, can you speak up a little louder? I think people...
Apologize,
Yeah,
yes.
no problem.
Our current communications are not strategized. Students are receiving similar messages from various channels, from various departments, all at the same time. Current students are feeling inundated. They're beginning to ignore the messages that we send to them, which makes it difficult for us to reach them. Prospective students are also being faced with an unclear process. prospective students are faced with having to take multiple clicks in order to get to the information that they need to take action on. Communications are out of place within the funnel, and there's lack of tracking in order for us to be able to provide them with relevant, timely, and personalized information. We are currently at an optimal time to refine our onboarding process, to create a website redesign for an exclusive audience, to capture and track the inquiry data, and to create a student hub so that there's one place all students can go in order to receive the information that's personalized, relevant, and timely. All this rolls up into a detailed project action plan with deliverable dates. We have also just launched a blog entitled Ask Maria, which features Maria Thurber, a recent SPC graduate and Gates Millennium Scholar. The blog is focused on student success and allows students to gain advice from a successful peer. We launched with the campaign quick guide. This is something we'll continue to do with each of our campaigns that we launch moving forward. The campaign quick guide was shared with faculty, staff, and directly with provosts. Questions can be asked anonymously on the blog, or they could provide us with their information in order to receive a free t-shirt. The t-shirt helped us to increase interest, and the humorous meme with the thumbs up and the social media hashtag allowed us to gain the buzz on Facebook and Twitter, which then linked back to the blog URL. We received over 150 questions in the first 3 days. The topics ranged from classes, college clubs, programs, degrees, study habits, and scholarships. As of last week, we counted 295 questions that were submitted. These questions are helping us to determine the information that needs to be available on MySPC and within the college's website. We also noticed, as of last week, 3,023 people had visited the site. 21% of those visits were from the SPC wireless network for mobile devices. 193 students learned about Ask Maria via our website, and 131 learned about it via the campus signage. We also noticed a big jump on Facebook analytics of people talking about us and with our viral reach on September 23rd when we launched Ask Maria. This allows us to track the validity of our new initiatives. It's allowing us to see how our messages are being perceived, the number of people we're reaching, and it allows us to listen to the conversations and to find out our weaknesses so that we can improve them moving forward. The next steps for this blog are unique. Ask Maria is a unique blog. We didn't mention that every question that was asked would be answered, but we do believe in helping students. So moving forward, I have some next action items that I'd like to complete for this blog. We're going to publish a word cloud on the blog and on social media in order to steer the conversation more towards student success. We're going to have a video of Maria that offers help and insight for student success. We're going to launch a frequently asked questions, which is a helpful resource to already asked questions. We're going to include a category selection on the form to help steer the conversation as well more towards student success. And we're going to use the tremendous followers that Maria has gained to promote the college experience student success with the new website we're working on, thecollegeexperience.com. We have also just launched a new blog.
Can you explain what
Yes,
word
sir.
cloud is?
Yes, sir. I apologize.
That's all right.
Word cloud, I had an example in the presentation which removed, but it allows us to put in all of the different questions that are being asked, and then based on how frequently they're asked, it makes the word bigger than the others, so you can quickly take a glance and see the frequently asked questions that are coming in or topics.
So it lists all the
That makes
keywords, and then depending upon how often that keyword is hit, that's in bigger type than other ones, so that you get a
There was an
relative
example
sense
of-
of what students are talking about or what they're
Right.
asking about.
There was an example of that in the education presentation. It's called a Wordle. Oops, excuse me. We've also just launched a new blog entitled Direct Link, which kicks off with a welcome message from President Dr. Bill Law, which I will play for you now.
Hi, I'm Bill Law, and I'm president at St. Petersburg College. Welcome to Direct Link, a new site to offer insights on issues foremost in the minds of the leadership team at St. Petersburg College. At SPC, student success is our top priority.
we believe that every staff member has a role in supporting student success. With the creation of this site, SPC faculty, staff, and students will be able to have access to the data, discussions, and thought processes that go into decision-making at the college. This site is one way to bring all of you into the conversation. Everyone from the leadership team to advisors, faculty, and staff at SPC have been working hard to implement the 5 facets of our college experience for student success. The revised new student orientation, My Learning Plan, individual plans for every student, the student coaching system, which includes an early alert, our greatly expanded out-of-class support, and an integrated academic and career advising experience. A new endeavor for us now is to focus our efforts to revitalize our online education program. We're also making improvements to our plan to intervene with students as soon as they start to struggle, assisting them in devising an action plan to get back on track at St. Pete College. This site is a way in our busy world to let you hear directly from me, from Senior Vice Presidents Ann Cooper, Doug Duncan, and Tanja Williams, and from other members of the leadership team on a variety of subjects. We've had great success with our face-to-face listening posts, where I and other college leaders have gone out to the campuses to personally hear student suggestions, their comments, and their concerns. This site will expand that concept. Each week, you'll find a post from a member of the leadership team, letting you know about a specific topic. Each month, you'll find a virtual listening post where a member of the leadership team will participate in a live online session. The topics will be wide-ranging. How we are adjusting to the legislative mandated changes in developmental education, how we are altering the ways we recruit and retain students, how we hope to better engage students who are already here, how we're dealing with financial constraints, how we're adjusting our educational offerings to meet the needs of a changing workforce and a global society. Those issues and how to resolve them do not affect just the executive team, they affect all of us. So I invite you to join us here often. Get involved in the conversation and let your voice be heard as we all work toward a common goal, the continued success of St. Petersburg College and our students. Thank you.
Let me ask you a question. I see you have academic updates, internet. So when you click on those, then you can go to something that will help you answer questions that you have as a student, or is that?
That helps us to steer the topics of the conversation. So when we have topics regarding academic updates or international topics, they'll click there and then you'll see the blog will expand to include that.
But the student will get something in text message, email, that will direct them to the direct link for the updates, or?
That's a great question. The presentation explains that a little bit further, but what we're going to do is each week we have a post topic created into content calendar, and so that we have something always fresh and relevant. It's the information that's on the top of the minds of the leadership team at SPC. Each month we'll have a live listening post, which we'll promote out to the current students, which expands on the success that Dr. Law has had and the leadership team has had with the live listening posts on campus.
So direct link is not necessarily for the student, it's for
everyone.
Team to keep up with what's going on as well as the students. Okay.
Yes, the direct link will allow the leadership team.
We're not going to, here's what we're working on. If you have a question, both from staff and students.
That makes plenty of sense, though.
Good. I think, see if we're live on the next slide, because we have the son of a gun.
I'm not.
No, that makes sense, because now the entire college can know what's going on. They can just click on this link and say what's going on in academic success.
It will allow the leadership team to step into the social world. It's going to allow us to learn, listen, and respond to the issues, concerns, and questions of a large audience, which will include community, prospects, faculty, staff, and current students in order for them to become engaged. With the content on a blog, it allows us also to point it out to our various social media channels. And content is king with social media, so to have such rich content on a blog like this, we can promote it on Facebook, Twitter, there's so much we can do with it, as well as with the live listening posts, so we can promote out to students.
Take a second. Whoops.
Oops.
You see the weekly topical approach to do this, so that there's always a new topic and then we'll find out which topics are more popular than others, okay? But at the same time, we're sharing as much information as we have, trying to keep the dialogue focused, moving forward, bring everybody into it. As we get the feedback, we can distribute that feedback to the right people. So we're trying to model the behaviors we want, which is to jump into sort of the social interaction, and we'll do that.
Well, it also allows your total team, to keep up with what's going on and what's relevant, which is very good.
The listening post is the one I'm looking forward to, and we have had some success face-to-face. We're going to try it. We'll do both, but I'm really anxious to try to get an online listening post to see what the students want. The interaction with the students and the president is always it's very rewarding for me. I hope it's rewarding for the students. And then the vice presidents will have their turn at bat in the listening post. So everybody does a little bit, and in the end, we have a good calendar of current topics. So.
And that concludes my presentation. If there are no other questions at this time, we do have a robust plan moving forward, and there's going to be a lot of work ahead of us, but it's exciting.
Mr. Chairman, can I just, Diana, go back, if you would, to
Yes,
the
sir.
intake slides, okay? Because this is a really important piece as we sort of rebrand. You know, the buzz of having I want you to keep going back a little bit.
Keep going back, yes, sir.
The Ask Maria is intended to get us touching base with students very quickly. Here's the one. In fact, go back to that one. As I've worked through, each of those is an area that's is communicating with students in some form by week. So each of those color things, you see week 1, week 2, week 3, those are different offices on campus that are all reaching out to students during that week. There currently exists little or no coordination regarding those communications. So it's both inefficient, it's over the top. Students, we think, get overwhelmed with that. I got one yesterday from these guys, I got one today from these guys. So we're trying to streamline that. Secondly, then, if you'll move forward, as the student, even when the student engages, we're finding out that you got to get through too much stuff before we know who we're talking to and how we can then really personalize it. So, Diane, what did we say you had to do? 3 or 4 things before we actually captured your name and a follow-up contact information, and you lose a lot of people along the way. So we're really trying to get people onboarded as fast as we can, and then rifle shot their problems, get them the information that they want. So a lot of shifting thinking in how we're trying to pull all this together in a way that makes sense for students, and Diana's brought us good perspective on that.
Thank you, sir.
So are you saying, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Ms. Bello.
Are you saying now that we capture their information immediately? They have to sign in and, okay.
We right now are not.
Oh, we're still not.
No, but on the new system, yes. Describe where we're headed here, okay?
Where we're headed is to be able to, this is right now what a student completes to request information. They go through and they go through 3 clicks before they get to a page where they enter their personal information in. Then from there they get an e-brochure, which is also out of place for where they are in the funnel. We do not put that into the PeopleSoft system right now. That's something we're working on doing so that we can target and send relevant communications based on where they are in the process.
So do we know how many of them we lose before the 3rd click?
The data, because it's not there, is very hard to see at this point. We do have Google Analytics in place with the application. That was something that was just put on. We need it on more places. There's a lot of change that needs to happen, not only on the website, but on the request for information form to the data tracking as well.
Any more questions? Go ahead, Captain Fine.
I just wanted to applaud how much you've done in a short period of time.
Oh, thank you,
you've been
sir.
here, because when I became on the board, and Dr. Law knows, I was extremely critical of where we are in this, and in your short period of time, we look like we have a plan and are heading in the right direction.
Well, I feel like I'm moving slowly, but I appreciate that.
Anybody else? I have a quick question. How does this back up to the other? I see we have Ask Maria, and we're going to put up some, which I think is great, because she is, I mean, you can't talk about success without talking about Maria and the other young man. I forget his name. That was in Clearwater. Manny, and then what was the other guy?
Alistair.
Alistair. I mean, if I was going to put up a blog, it'd be those 3. I mean, but how does this back up to the student success stuff? I mean, or are we reaching out to those students that we see are more of a, let me see here, that are we reaching out to the students that we think may or may not make it? We had a problem with minority males, black males, and the Hispanics and other folks. How are we going to touch them more through this system so that they're utilizing it more and feeling more engaged in the college? Or
that's the goal, yes.
Okay.
And we're also, as I mentioned, moving forward with launching the collegeexperience.com website. I think the Ask Maria too took a different approach. We didn't do the typical signage. We had the signage as you walk into the building. As you can see, we had some concrete vinyl and window clings. We did a very humorous, different attempt with the posters, and we tried to do this in a way to allow students to ask questions of a former successful peer, instead of just faculty and staff,
Sure.
To give them another outlet. And the collegeexperience.com, I'll bring that to you so you can see as well. But it will also include explaining what the different points are of the success. And we'll have a campaign where we'll use student testimonials to explain, I went to the Learning Center and it really helped me, as a way to give the students another student's opinion on how well it's helped them.
And the second part of my question is so the other groups that are on campuses already, like Women on the Way and those types of groups, or is that the second phase of this to kind of pull in something that you could ask a question about what is Women on the Way, or what is some of these programs that we already have? Like, is that
That's
the second
a great
phase?
question. We are looking at doing a lot more with social media. My biggest priority with social media would be to create area of study blogs. And I say that because in my experience, that's one of the big areas that students look at when they're looking to evaluate where they want to go to school.
Sure.
Do you have my program? Are you affordable? And will I fit in? Will I be able to do it in the amount of time? So I believe that having area of study blogs and creating student bloggers at each campus to help generate the content and bringing in all of the great news and success stories from the program dean and faculty will really help give life to that program and give them the insight, just like we're doing with the direct link. That would be my first priority moving forward for the blogs.
The reason I asked that question is our UPC has been so successful in terms
Yes.
of making sure folks get degrees in Pinellas County. And I can tell you, I spend probably 75% of my time saying, you know, you can get your degree, your bachelor's degree at St. Pete College. And I don't think that's any fault of ours. I just think that our students know it, but I don't think the people that are out in the work community, I don't think we've, not because of anything wrong, we just haven't communicated that well to them that they can actually get a degree for cheaper. And I think some parents don't even know that, because they send these kids off to school and then they say, wow, if I had known that, I would have sent them to St. Petersburg College. So that's why I asked that question, is like, what's our second
Our spring
step?
enrollment campaign that we're doing with billboards and our radio, that spots that are already out there are now targeted onto the stations that students are listening to, and the message is spend less, earn more. It's focused
Sure,
on
that's
how
great.
you can not only earn more through the bachelor's degree, but also earn more from the success we offer students that's unique as well. So,
Well, thank you. You and
Thank
Dr.
you.
Law should be commended again on a good job in such a short period of time. It's
Thank
a lot
you,
of
sir.
work. Thanks.
thank you, sir.
Any
Appreciate it.
more
keep you up to
comments?
date.
Sorry.
No, we'll
Any more comments from board members?
One more question.
Yes, sir.
Your challenges. I'm curious. Staffing, finances, I mean, there's a lot to,
Yes.
what do you foresee your challenges as we go into a budgeting year for, next year or things of that nature? I'm kind of curious what you.
I am looking at the budget. That is a concern for us to do some more things, which I will bring to the budget review process and working with Doug and Jamel on. I think that the biggest challenge is we'll bring everyone together. There's a lot of old ways of doing things we need to quickly change, and we're restructuring our MPI department all at the same time, bringing in some new people into the mix, so there's a lot of culture change, which it will be good, though.
Ms. Fine, let me help. We had been holding 2 or 3 vacant positions so that Diana could put her own flavor on those. So she has those. We've reorganized that department. We've actually moved some people who were assigned elsewhere back to they were working on a website and other kinds of things so that they're under more direct control here, so there's a more cohesive view of some of those things. So we've made some staffing changes. We haven't made any budgetary changes yet, but
Correct.
the staffing ones will give her the appropriate horsepower to get some things moving, and then
Right, it's the foundation that I need to solve
I
before I
think
can
the
move
culture
forward.
is probably the biggest change in my experience to change. So,
Well, you definitely
Not saying
changed,
that to bother
you changed the
anyone.
job title too to executive director, which I think is more appropriate as well.
And you should know that Diana reports directly to Doug now, so that it's a little
Perfect.
closer. She sits in on the executive committee every week, so that this is a strategic direction, and it's at the highest levels of the college. I meet with Diana regularly now, too. So.
great job.
Thank you very much for your time. Appreciate
Thank you. Okay, we're down to item B. The Melinda Gates Foundation. We have to take action on that.
I think we shared that in our Friday packet. It's a small grant, but it's really important. It's $100,000 for us to accelerate the scalability of, I see Jackie Scrid getting ready, the scalability of our manufacturing grant. So this was by invitation. You know, anything that has Bill and Melinda Gates' name on it gets a little extra pizzazz on it. So we're very excited about this grant.
We have two new board members. Why don't you just run through it really quickly, Jackie?
The Bill and Melinda Gates grant, the $100,000 scaled models project will allow us to do something that we would need to be doing under the Florida Trade Project through the Department of Labor anyway. We've just closed out our first year of implementation on that project, and what we're trying to establish is a career pathway model for students to earn certificates and recognize prior learning leading all the way to degrees. Dr. Sutherland talked about that through her College of Computer and Information Technology, and that's that same model. How are we looking at students that are accessing courses through non-credit means into credit, and all of those features into a package of how students are, pursuing their education pattern. So what we're able to do with this project is to convene the presidents of the 12 college consortium to come to the table and discuss some of the harder topics like revenue sharing and cost sharing of a delivery model in which we're sharing content for curriculum along the advanced manufacturing sector. But beyond advanced manufacturing, how can we get into IT? How can we use this model and scale it into other industries? How can we scale it to the other colleges within the Florida college system? In this project in Florida Trade, there's only 12. And then how can we work with some of our counterparts across the United States to ensure that, some of the discussion topics that we're coming together to really figure out and how students are accessing training from certificates to degrees and kind of essentially changing education is what they're looking for. So,
Mr. Chairman, if I might, let me fill in just a couple of blanks for, again, new trustees and evolving board dynamics. We are now members of 3 very big national consortiums that were funded through the federal government, and that's the
Four.
The third, the first was the manufacturing. We got a pretty good splash on that a year ago. We are the lead institution on that, and this is where this grant is going to say, scale this up. It was a 5-year project. Move forward a little bit faster. So that's what that is. The second one that is just coming over the horizon, and I spent yesterday with the Florida Chamber of Commerce. They released their major study on trade and logistics. Florida is making a big push in the global economic trade and logistics. We have 15 ports. There's infrastructure. They think there's 150,000 additional jobs to come. We are in the perfect spot, again, with a consortium, 4 or 5 Florida schools and a handful of others nationwide. Third is in the medical devices. And we've hosted those folks down here. That was a year ago. That project is working through. So first, to design curriculum with high industry partnerships. Second then is to design certificates and pathways. Third then is to implement it, and that's what we're being accelerated here. The fourth grant, by the way, is orthotics and prosthetics, a much smaller consortium, but an area where we're quite well known, we're very well positioned. Their plate is plentiful now. That was $2.2 million plus $600,000 from the legislature last year. So that program is really moving forward. So the workforce pieces are starting to come together in areas where we know there's employment, we know there's training requirements, there's nationally recognized standards. This has been a priority for this board and this college, certainly since when I was hired. That was the guidance I was given, and I think we're making good progress. Jackie's been great helping us get these grants to accelerate all this. Mr. Chairman, I hope that helps understand the nature of some of the important things we're doing.
I think it was a good explanation. Thank you. Do we want to take up items B and C in a motion, unless you have any questions on these two? Board members, and then we have human resources stuff that we have. Well, I guess we can take B, C, and D. No, B and C, because D we have a report.
Take a second just on the insurance.
Yeah, I was going to say on the health insurance here. I
Okay,
see
yeah.
that. So,
Okay.
because we have recommendations coming from Dr. Law and staff. So,
I'll move B and C.
Second.
it's been moved that we accept items B, 1A and B, C, 1 and 2. All signify by saying aye.
Aye.
None opposing. We're on to item D, which is administrative matters, human resources. And I know that we have a report on the health insurance.
Good morning, members of the board, Mr. Chairman, Mr. President. I'm Patty Jones, Vice President of Human Resources, and it's my pleasure to give you an update on where we are with our insurance plan this year and to look forward to 2014. We are on a calendar year, plan year, not with the fiscal year, so we are getting ready for open enrollment. I want to give you a recap. In 2013, we really wanted to maintain as much stability and equilibrium for our employees as possible. So we didn't increase premiums or co-pays, and for the second year we offered the high deductible low premium plan with the health savings account. In addition, we value wellness and know that employee wellness also contributes to reduced costs and better health for them. We put in place an incentive program. We also, for the first time in a long time, added tiers of deductibles for employees on our traditional plans. Believe it or not, we had had none for a long time. It was only on the HSA side. So far, the result of that is what we had hoped would happen, and that is as employees start to share the first dollar costs as they're paying toward their deductible, it has positively affected the cost to the college. So for the first 6 months of this year, of the plan year, you can see that our medical and pharmacy claims dropped by about 13%. In addition, we believe that because employees are paying toward the deductible, they have chosen to increase their choice of generic brand equivalents when getting their prescriptions filled. So the prior slide talked about the claims costs. This talks about where the money comes from to pay. And as you can see, the college continues to pay the lion's share of the costs on behalf of our employees and their dependents. Going into 2014, again, stability is important, but so is trying to migrate more employees as much as possible to the HSA model. We know that that does derive a savings for the college over time. So while we have no increase in premiums, deductibles, or co-pays, starting in January, we would like you all to consider allowing us to offer new employees only the HSA model. Now, going into that, we want to give those new employees a leg up with their savings account, their health savings account. We want to incentivize current employees who are not on it to consider it. So through a series of meetings, including several robust conversations with the insurance committee, the recommendations to you are to do a combination of seeding and matching. So if we take a moment and look at the employee line, what the recommendation to you this morning is that for anybody new to the plan, so a new employee or someone moving to this who's already employed here, we would give them $500 up front into their health savings account. In addition, we are recommending a 2-to-1 match that would max at $1,000 from the college if the employee puts in $500. Of course, the employee can put in more than that. So the maximum that SPC could contribute to the employee-only model would be $1,500 at an estimated cost of about $80,000 to the college. So the total estimated cost incurred for this would be a little less than $300,000. So to put that in perspective, that's about a third of our monthly claims costs. So we believe that's a good investment to continue migrating employees over to this model. We also have been working very closely with Brown & Brown. Some of you may know they've been working with us for a couple of years, particularly related to what's been going on with healthcare reform. They've also been a valuable partner in negotiating on our behalf with Aetna. So as a result of their work on our behalf, they are bringing to us even more discounts and rebates and plan design on the pharmacy side on behalf of the college, because pharmacy does continue to be a great cost to the college. And in addition, they estimate that the annual recurring savings of those projected to move to the HSA will be $200,000 to $300,000 a year. The top half of the slide shows how this benefits the college and ultimately, of course, all employees, because if our claims costs are reduced, we have money to allocate in other places. But a more direct impact, immediate, for employees is at the bottom of the slide. And one of the things that Aetna has brought to us is expanding their partnership with CVS on behalf of our employees to benefit them. So right now, an employee who has a maintenance medication and they order a 90-day supply through mail order, they only pay the 60-day fill rate. What Aetna is offering to us is a plan where if an employee goes to CVS retail, meaning walk up, you go to your neighborhood pharmacy instead of waiting for the mail, you had to before pay the full cost if you didn't do mail order. You can now do it this way and still get the 60-day cost for the 90-day on the maintenance medications. So open enrollment is around the corner. We have a lot going on for our employees. Starting this week, actually, we are offering individual coaching sessions with current HSA members. Brown & Brown is sending someone to meet one-on-one with them, and 32 of employees have already signed up for these sessions. We have many workshops, benefit fairs coming up, and online enrollment starts in November, and the new plan year starts in January. Any questions?
Any questions, board members?
Mr. Chair,
oh, go ahead.
How many total enrollees do we have on the healthcare plan?
We have, let's see, I have it right here. We have about 1,500 budget employees, about 1,300 have coverage. So most of our employees have coverage.
We're in our first real year of HSA as part of our plan, but through the first 6 months, it won't end up here, but through the first 6 months, the college puts just about $10,000 into a traditional plan and just about $5,000 into an HSA plan. So when we incentivize people to go that way with the seed or the match, we can give back some money to them, let them move in that direction, and we still net benefit for the entire plan. Let me just take a second again with new members. Given all that's going on in healthcare. We have a very fine self-insured program. As you see, it's financially stable, and we've worked very hard at that. I'm doing everything in my power to keep things unchanged until we see things settle out around us in our greater society, our greater communities. So we are protecting as best we can. I'm very proud of our financial management that has allowed us to not raise premiums and not raise deductibles for next year. That's a real savings to our frontline employees and especially those. Now, the part that we're nervous about, and the reason that we're working so hard on the HSA is, if you do an HSA, you really have to save the difference between what you would have paid in the premiums and what you pay in the HSA. You need to squirrel that money because you have a higher deductible. Now, unfortunately, our first blush, a number of our employees were not, about 2/3 of the employees put something aside to do, to optimize the plan. About 1/3 are not. And we just want to be sure, the coaching sessions are to be sure people understand that's your choice. We don't do this, but that's high-risk behavior. What's the deductible for a family, Patty? What's the total out-of-pocket for a year? Is it $6,500? Is that the...
About $6,000.
You know, for an hourly employee, $6,500 would be a lot of money. You save, if you were a family, you save about $140 a paycheck in the premium difference. So if you were just squirreling that money into your HSA, you could offset, and in fact it carries over, so you could get ahead of the game. You see how involved this gets, but it's in the college's best interest to have students, to have new employees go to the HSA. We want to make sure every employee is getting the insurance that best meets their needs and that they can afford it. And thirdly, we're going to try to keep things as stable as we can while things sort out in our general society. So I think we've done a pretty good job. The idea is that we can keep doing what we're doing for another year. Thank you.
Dr. Locke, very quickly, one question. Are we just going to have sessions with folks who have not moved over to the HSA? Or are we having sessions with every employee?
Currently, the sessions are for the current HSA holders.
Okay.
We also have, Brown & Brown has an HSA coach for us year-round for any employees, whether they're considering going to it. But these are just specifically, overtly before open enrollment to really help them along as they decide what to do for next year.
We were just concerned about 30% of the people on the HSA weren't making any contribution
Correct.
beyond. And if that's their choice, we're happy. We just need to interact with them and make sure that that's an informed choice.
Good job. Any questions?
No.
Thank you. I think we are down to...
We need a vote
We have
on that,
action
Mr.
on that.
Chairman.
Well, we got to... I mean, I don't know. You guys want to take up the finance stuff, and we have another report down here too, Dr. Law, on your on the naming facility.
Would you do me a favor? Would you just take a vote on the insurance one, just so that
Okay,
we have a
let's do
record
that.
on that one? Okay, I think that might be helpful downstream.
Looking for a motion on item D1B.
D1, A and B.
A and B.
Yeah.
So moved.
Second.
Moved in second. All signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And none opposing. We are on to the finance report, D2.
Good
Doug,
morning,
welcome.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I'm Doug Duncan, Senior Vice President of Administrative and Business Services. I want to give you just a quick recap. We're at the end of our first quarter, and things are looking good, very similar to last month. As you can see, our revenue is slightly below where we anticipated it would be because of a little bit of a drop in enrollment. But correspondingly, our expenses have also decreased, and I'll show you the detail on that in just 1 second. But we're in good shape at this point. On the revenue side, you can see that the bulk of that is coming from student tuition, the $300,000 at the top yellow block there to the far right. But if you drop all the way down to the green block at the far right, you'll also see a corresponding reduction in instruction. I mentioned this last month, but we will continue to see that trend. So those are the two biggest offsets, revenue down a little bit, but it also being offset by reduced instructional costs. I want to just highlight one thing you'll see there in light blue, and that is the lab fee revenues that you see declining at a slightly disproportionate rate than you do regular tuition, and that's because you'll hear in a second that we've changed our lab fee strategy and we've removed technology. This reflects the removal of technology that had been incorporated into the lab fees for students. So what you're seeing there is really impacting in a positive way what students are paying in lab fees. They're paying a lower amount, and we are offsetting that by funding those costs from the capital improvement fee that you approved in the budget earlier. So will affect students. You can see healthy, we're at end of the first quarter, we still have a surplus of $8 million. So we're in good shape at this point. So any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Again, one of the things we did was with legislative authority, with each course enrollment, we can charge a technology fee and then pledge that for the ongoing technology costs. That gives us a great planning tool. And by the way, in round numbers, we do about 600,000 student semester hours. So anytime we charge $1, you would multiply $1 times 600,000. That's what we get. So we've done that. When we did that, though, the direction was pull out any lab fees that were being justified on the basis of technology. We're going to fund the technology out of a different source now. So that lowered lab fees immediately for a number of courses. Over time, people had built those into individual lab fees, correct, and it didn't make sense to do that. So we're doing that. We now bring you phase 2, which is a bigger, grander plan to streamline lab fees, to make it, well, Doug, go ahead and make your presentation.
Yeah, Jamel's going to cover it.
Jamel is going to do that.
Good morning. My name is Jamel Connor. I'm the Associate Vice President of Budget and Planning, and we're bringing to you today a proposal to change the current lab fees effective for this coming spring term. Per Florida statute, we are allowed to charge lab fees. Lab fees are user fees, which means that we can only charge them for those that receive the service, and that when we determine what the fee is going to be, we need to make sure that we don't charge anything more than the cost to provide those services. So for labs, the types of things that we would fund under a lab fee would be the consumables the students will use in class, and then also specialized personnel, so on top of the regular faculty, lab assistants. If you look at our current tuition and fee schedule, you'll see we have over 460 discrete lab fees right now because we calculate and determine them by course. This is very complex for students. It means that if a student is in any particular program, from semester to semester, the lab courses they take could have quite an amount of variability in their fee. So it's very difficult for them to plan financially from term to term what they need to spend. Also, operationally, it's very cumbersome for us to be able to manage and monitor this many lab fees. So over the past 6 months, we've worked with Dr. Cooper and the deans to do an in-depth analysis of all of those lab fees. What we did in looking at each lab fee is that we were able to group the courses by program and then calculate an overall program lab fee. This enabled us to reduce the number of different lab fees from over 460 to less than 50. As Dr. Law previously mentioned, we also have now removed all of the equipment and technology costs from the lab fees. And whereas before we would do a detailed calculation for each and every course, we're now able to take annualized lab fee costs at the program level, and then we take into account anticipated enrollment from our guaranteed schedule to determine an overall program fee. And that allows us to take into account whether the courses are trending, increasing, or declining in enrollment. So what this allows us to do from a planning perspective is now we, on an annual basis, will be able to review these program lab fees and all the costs involved to determine what's happening moving forward, and it'll be part of our strategic budget process. Also for students, as an overall result, it's going to be a much more simplified structure for them from a fee perspective and also give them less variability financially. Do you have any questions?
Mr. Chairman, my goal is to use our individual student learning plans to project for a student, here's what courses remain for you, and by the way, here's how much cost remains for you to execute this plan. And this would be a big step in allowing students to understand what costs they face going forward with both tuition and fees. So it will save literally thousands of hours of our dean's times in the paperwork documentation of each individual course lab fee. We can do it at a little higher level, get a much the same throughput. It lowers the total cost to students by, help me out, Jamel.
Including all of the technology we've previously taken out in the equipment, it's $400,000.
So students will pay $400,000 less. I wish I had armed you with that when you were interviewing with the governor. You could, he would like something like that. So it's a good recommendation, I think.
Overall, so that if, I'm going to say a nursing student now with everything that he or she is doing now pays less. Granted, her percentage of that 400,000 or his percentage,
but overall it is less because of the removal of the technology and the equipment costs when we were calculating out the fee would be. So in addition to somewhat lower costs, it's also spread more evenly across their time in that program so that they're not seeing, you know, a very big cost one semester and then a very small lab fee the next semester.
But apples to apples, even including back in that technology fee, nobody's getting dinged.
Right.
Correct.
Nursing, of course, has, you know, they're pretty good at specifying the specific costs. And you get things like the anatomy and physiology across all courses, across all campuses, across everything else. It's much better to put them all in, get a bottom line cost, bottom line assessment, charge the fee, move on. Same thing with chemistry is a good one like that. Some of the IT ones are like that. So I think this is going to be huge. I think it's going to be very well received by students, to be perfectly honest.
Any other questions, board members? Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I think we need a motion on that one, Mr. Chairman.
We need a motion.
If you would. Okay.
Do we hear a motion to accept, which one was that one? Oh, items D, 1A and B, we've already done. 2, D2, A and B, and 3, I think, right? Do you have an information report on that one?
It's just 2B.
Just 2B?
Just 2B.
All right, 2B.
So moved.
Second.
Move and second, any discussion? All signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And none opposing. We're down to your quarterly reports here, Dr. Lowe, or informational reports.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, each quarter we report on, the president, of course, has latitude to execute contracts within certain parameters or whatnot, but we think as part of both the transparency and accountability, we give a quarterly report. So these are already approved, by the way. If you have concerns, we're certainly happy to respond to them. But these are fait accompli, and it's intended to be responsive to the public. And there's nothing extraordinary in there.
If there's no questions, we'll go out. I'm going to move down to item 6A.
6A.
I think Dr. Law has probably a report on that and how we'll move forward on that one.
I think, let me find, where is my, I don't see 6A.
Board members have no other questions on the other items?
With the progress we're making in Midtown, halting though it may be, Mr. Chairman.
No, it's
okay. Clearly there's a very strong sense of community that is part of this project, and I suspect that we will no sooner approve the guaranteed maximum price then I think this board will be approached to say, can we memorialize this commitment to recognize community educational leadership or other leadership in our Midtown community. We have a board rule on the naming of facilities, and Mr. Chairman, with your guidance, it's your call, I think, to get that in motion.
Okay.
It requires the president to do some work. Mr. Fine, the vice chair, ends up making that recommendation. Okay, but with your permission, Mr. Chairman, we'll get that in place and get moving on that. It shouldn't be too hard. I think we can do that in 30 days. I did mention to you there's one other. A number of people have approached me on some other campus things, and I'd like to bring both at the same time if you're okay with that.
I'm perfectly fine with that. Just for the purposes of Ms. Bello and for Ms. Weston, Westine, would you just tell us what the rule is, Dr. Law, just quickly? I mean, just off the top of your head, you don't...
A committee is appointed. This is since we've gotten here. This is the first time we're using this rule, by the way.
We've never done this before.
Rule, so.
Before it was kind of just an ad hoc thing. President would come out and say, "Why don't we do this kind of deal?" And as a result of more community support for this, I think Mr. Fine actually was the person that brought it up when we talked about naming a couple of years ago.
I think it's a good government thing that Mr. Burke was.
Oh, Mr. Burke. It was Burke. I thought it was.
Okay.
You talked about paying for the building.
Yes.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, fundraising for the building. Okay,
The private sector way.
Yes.
Yeah, so Mr. Burke brought it up, and then we moved to having an actual committee to come back with naming facilities as opposed to just a committee of one and then bringing it to the board. So now we have an actual process, and we're going to put it into motion and see how it works, right?
Simplified process. The president appoints a small committee to vet both the criteria and the candidates. There's a meeting with the vice chairman of the board. If there's agreement to move forward, then a name is presented to the board for its recommendation. Okay, and there are some general criteria. It can be the service to the community, service to the college. Certainly can be financial. We would hope for more of those. But there are identifiable frameworks for that. It includes the provost for the campus involved with the naming, so there are no surprises to the front line, and the president, of course, is in the process from start to finish. So
perfect.
What buildings are we naming?
Well, this would be the Midtown. The building that we're creating in Midtown. That would be the most important one, and then. Again, I'd like not to say some names out loud because we haven't fully vetted them, but on at least one other campus, and people have asked me to consider something, we'll put together a small committee to review that recommendation to me.
And I think it'd be a good recommendation, the other one. So, all right. So we're down to academic matters. Item E1.
This is a big one.
Yeah. Come on up.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Dr. Law. I'm Vicki Westergaard, Executive Director of eCampus, Web and Instructional Technology. And joining me this morning is Dr. Richard Mercadante, who's President of the Faculty Governance Organization. We're here today to talk to you about changing our learning management system and also a project we're undergoing right now to revitalize our online learning. Since 2004, the college has used Angel as its learning management system. A learning management system is commonly called an LMS. It's a platform that allows students to access their course syllabus, lessons content, assessments, and much more. Keep in mind that although 50% of our students take at least one online course, many more of them are also using the LMS in their face-to-face classes. So why would we change Angel? Angel has served us well, but we've been considering a change since 2009 when Blackboard acquired the product and announced that it would discontinue Angel later on. Although Angel's end-of-life date has not been set, improvements to the product have ceased. And so we also expect that our current revitalization project, the College Experience 2, will require enhanced functionality to support the goal of revitalizing our online learning and improving the student online experience. The process of choosing an LMS involved a large committee. There were 22 faculty and 13 administrative and professional staff involved. Discussions about the new product started as early as 2009, but monthly meetings began in February of 2012, and we came up with a final recommendation in August of this year. This committee's work involved learning about various products and going through a process of discovery for each of the 3 finalist products. Portions of the content demos were also included. The deans the provost, and other executive leadership. The committee solicited feedback from current customers and evaluated each product's functionality. Based on the final analysis and vote, the committee recommends Desire to Learn as SPC's next learning management system. We propose a contract that will extend through August of 2019. A little bit about Desire to Learn. It was founded in 1999. Its products deliver cutting-edge technology for interactive content, collaboration, and student success. Commonly called D2L, the platform offers ease of access via a suite of integrated tools. SPC will join about 950 other customers. In Florida, they include Daytona State College, Broward College, and University of West Florida, among others. D2L offers full mobile access for students and faculty, plus state-of-the-art features that integrate social media, collaborative tools, and a much-requested whiteboard. Advanced analytics feed a student performance dashboard and allow for automatic alerts. Desire to Learn's, I think I skipped something. Desire to Learn's integrated platform will fully satisfy all the points on our value structure, and it will provide SPC with all the tools that we need to take our online education to the next level and to enhance student success. So changing the LMS is a big step. We've been on this product for a long time, and as I said before, many people are using it. But it's only the first part of a much bigger project to revitalize our online education. And so Dr. Mercadante is going to talk to you a little about that now.
Thank you, and good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board, Dr. Law. I'm Rich Mercadante, President of the Faculty Senate, also teach philosophy and communication studies over at Clearwater. Technological change is never easy. Imagine, changing your cell phone, sometimes even just updating your software on your cell phone, and cable TV change. We're trying to kind of smooth things out. And there are a number of ways you can do this. Different organizations do this in a very top-down manner in some cases. That's not how we chose to go. I'm pleased to say this was a real collaborative effort between faculty and administration, and I think we're at a good place with this process here. Basically, the first step, as you see, is the Desire to Learn software, if you will. And hopefully what we're working on with this is making sure that that transition is a smooth one. I think we are something like client number 950 or something. A lot of people have tested this, and I think we've chosen a good direction to go in. One of the larger issues is online education in general and where we're going with that. And what happened was over the summer, Dr. Law put together a white paper, basically kind of outlining a vision of some of the questions we should be asking about online education. Incidentally, the software doesn't only impact online because face-to-face instructors use this. Folks who teach blended, which is a combination of online and face-to-face, just about all of us will use this. Basically what he did was he came out with a white paper, and I thought one of the questions he wrote really captured the spirit of what we're doing. The question he asked was this: what level of learning and support should a student have a right to expect when he or she enrolls in online learning at St. Petersburg College? So basically what we've done is we put together a large committee of about 70 people, which has about 6 subcommittees under that, in order to address these questions, and each committee is addressing a specific aspect of the question. So we have a big vision committee, okay, and that committee is basically focusing on what kind of online program we should have for the entire college. We have a committee focusing on online course development and delivery, basically focusing on the design of what the student receives. One committee focuses on faculty roles and support. Another committee on student readiness for online learning. And this really focuses on the expectations we have of the students who sign up for these online courses to make sure they come ready to learn. Another committee deals with academic and student services, who the student goes to for help and assistance. And finally, organizational structure, which really focuses on what sort of structure we need to support the goals of the project overall. So, in summary, we come down to a committee report on November 22nd with all these committees basically funneling up to a steering committee, strategic discussions with all of you at your December 10th meeting as well. The change of the software is going to focus, again, not only on online classes, but blended and face-to-face. We're taking a look at the look and feel, the ease of access, making sure things like whiteboard, interactive material is in there for our students and faculty, and making sure those powerful tools are there so we can continue quality online education. We want to enhance the support services. We want to improve how faculty teach online. And again, I think we're headed in the right direction. There'll probably be some bumps along the road. Anytime you change, technology issues, people are going to have issues with the change itself. But we have some great people on board. I think we have a plan that's supported by both faculty and administration. And I'm very excited about what will be happening over the next couple of years here at SPC with this online material and new desire to learn. We'd be glad to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions, board members?
I do, but it's not about, what's the percentage of success or completion of online courses? And I know we have you have 50% of your students that are taking one, but what's
Correct.
the completion of the success rate?
Well, it depends on the course. Some classes, some disciplines actually, like math, have a bigger challenge. And that's something that the Online Revitalization Committee is talking about. We would like our online classes to have the same success rates as our face-to-face classes. And in some areas, we're very close. Some areas exceed. It just depends on which discipline you look at. Definitely, math has always been our biggest challenge, and developmental courses as well. And we're working on finding ways to increase either faculty communication, tutoring, and support, things that will help those students better succeed. Part of what Dr. Mercadante talked about with the student readiness is making sure that the students, not only our expectations for them, but their expectations for us. Sometimes they think that taking an online class is going to be easier, and that is definitely not the case. So we want to make sure that they understand before they get into the class what they've signed up for and what they're committing to, as well as having those skills.
Mr. Chairman, the question is a really good one, and let me see if I can answer both. I think the number I have in my mind, if you all in at the college-wide, is about 73%, I think, and it goes up a little by campus and by course and everything else. But if you say, what's the bottom line, it's about 73%. For online learning, it's just a couple of percentage points below that at the aggregate. But that really masks the challenge because the edges are so much wider. The success rates in some math classes get down into the 30% range, okay, which would be very problematic. In some cases, it's a little higher. So that's why we've teased out, not to say what's the average. At 2 or 3%, it wouldn't pop up as a problem of student success. But as we pull out developmental courses, math courses, gateway courses, the kinds of things where we know students have a challenge, we see that we have to redevote ourselves. So that's exactly the work that we're doing, and it's just for that reason, is to say we can't have a system that's now driving 30 or 40% of our credit hours where students aren't at least as successful as face-to-face, and we would hope we could get it to be more successful. So that's the challenge we face.
Any other questions?
Is 5 years a normal contract period for something like that? It seems long to me.
Because of the fact that it takes us quite a while to make a change, in this case, we expect it's going to be about 18 months before we're fully on to the new system. We didn't want to turn around and then have to start looking at something different or potentially looking at another change. We'd like to think that we can just stay on this forever because changing is quite an arduous task and uncomfortable for many people. So we've picked 5 years. Normally we have had 3-year contracts when we're just renewing. So,
how many courses do we have, Vicki? How many courses are we currently teaching online?
Courses
Not sections, courses.
Courses are about 550. And course sections are about 2,700. But as we both mentioned, many of our face-to-face faculty, as well as our blended faculty, are also using the system. So every semester we create for every credit course an Angel shell. Later it will be a Desire to Learn shell. And so the faculty can put information in there and give assignments or quizzes or whatever they wish to through that system as well. So it's bigger than just our online.
The conversion is a pretty big undertaking. If you were teaching it in the old system and now you have to make sure it functions at both a higher and more sophisticated level. So we need, the 5 years is really, for the first contract, I think that's a good number.
I'm not questioning.
Yeah.
I guess my question, is there an advantage? I mean, if we want to have an internal goal of let's stick with this with 5 years, that's one thing. But is there an advantage to signing up for 5 years?
Certainly, we get better pricing as we are more committed as a customer. So,
as we go through this, any other questions? I see you look. Oh, okay. As we go through this process, is there any colleges or community colleges that do this better than anybody else that we're looking at as a model?
Mr. Chairman, we're the best.
All right, I just want to make sure. I like to hear that. No, I just like to hear that, but I just want to make sure.
And,
so we're going to be better than what we were.
Well, yeah, and I want to be very, very fair here. Just so you get the picture of it, we offered 4,000 course sections last year. The 2,700 is not the annualized number. About 10% of all the online enrollment in Florida's college system is done through St. Petersburg College. So we are half again as big as Miami-Dade, which is 3 times bigger than we are. I mean, we are the lead dog in this. We've been at it the longest, so our stuff is a little shop-worn. It starts to get outdated. This really is, it's like every other technology. It's a consumable. It's not a.
So that brings me to my second comment then, Dr. Law. If we're the best at it, then it needs to be a part of our marketing opportunities so that we can say to the for-profit colleges that we're up against all the time that we do this better than they do.
Well, and that's the dialogue we want to have at the planning session is we want to be sure that we're getting your best input. This is a strategic driver. This is a survivability issue for the college going forward. And I think we all ought to bring our best game to how we're doing this, what it looks like, how we're supporting it, how we're going to mesh it, how we're going to organize it, how we're going to nurture it. That's the dialogue I want to have in December with you.
We definitely have somebody that knows about that now. Ms. Bello can help us with that.
I'm sorry, I had a quick question. You said not all face-to-face teachers use it?
not all do.
Do they
We don't require them to, although they all put their syllabus up in Angel currently, and they also provide the student survey of instruction, which is done every semester there. It is optional if you're a face-to-face instructor as to whether you use the LMS or not.
How do they submit grades then? I mean, is student information system?
Well, yes, the grades always go in through PeopleSoft. There is a grade book in Angel.
Do they talk to one another?
They will be able to with Desire to Learn.
Okay,
we'll be able to automatically
the teacher doesn't have to get grades and then turn around and input in another system.
Exactly.
Is that what they did in Angel?
That's what they have done in Angel, yes.
So duplicating effort, okay.
And, you know, the advantage to the grade book and the learning management system is it shows every single grade along the way, and not just the aggregate grade at the end of the term.
So the new system will merge,
absolutely,
talk to our student information system?
Definitely.
That's a big piece.
Yeah.
Any more questions? Do I hear a motion to accept item E1?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and second. Any more discussion on the item? All signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, none opposing. I will now open the public hearing for, thank you very much, the public hearing for the proposed rules changes. There's none to the Board of Trustees rule changes. Do we have any public speakers on that item? None being, I'll close it.
Mr. Chairman, they've handed me a note that we need a vote on item 6A, facilities, okay? That
6A.
facilities naming was an action item for you to authorize.
Oh, yeah, it sure was. Do we also hear a motion for item 6A?
So moved.
It's been moved.
Second.
Second. All signify by saying aye.
Aye.
None opposing. We are.
Thank you.
I also missed at the beginning, so I'm going to open it up. Are there any public speakers now? Since we're at the end of our meeting almost. There's a requirement by the state for us to open it up for any public speakers, any persons from the public that would like to speak. I didn't want Mr. Lane to get upset with me by missing this. all the way through the meeting.
I'm crossing off one of the items here.
All right.
Mr. Chairman, this is unusual. I would like to request, Mrs. Gardner and I request a 5-minute recess for us to talk briefly with you and the President.
Sure, no problem. Take 5 minutes, and we'll come right back. We're going to call a meeting back to order for a second, just a point of order to to straighten something out. There was nothing horribly wrong. It was just that the paperwork on one of our trustees got kicked back, and so we were not sure if she could make motions. So now we have straightened that out, and we will move down the agenda when Ms. Westine comes back in, and very quickly, since we're at the end of it already, we've straightened the matter out. But that's what that was about. We just want to make sure we're doing everything properly and in order so that we don't have to do it again. So we are
Did you hear what the issue is, Ms. Westine? You're while we were waiting your final paperwork, it's probably not appropriate for you to be either the mover or the seconder on any of the items that came before us. You were kind enough to do that, but we're going to show somebody else as substitute. Who?
Ms. Bello, I think.
Your paperwork is you're resubmitting some portion to the Governor's office, the Secretary of State's office.
I thought it was done, but that's either way. It doesn't bother me.
Yeah. You have to get a certificate from the Secretary. Good. All right. So we'll show Trustee Bello as the mover. Or
I'm sure three of us would like to be you. We'd be much better looking if we were you. So at least three of us would want to be you. So we're that is we've got it straightened out. Thank you. I don't think it's a big deal. I think we figured it out. So we are down to we were on the public hearing portion. There was none, and so now we're on to item G, where we're talking about our audits for these organizations. Dr. Law.
Again, for the purposes of completion, the college has, in Florida terminology, we call direct support organizations. These are generally fundraiser. There's an arm's length relationship between the college and these organizations. So it's the foundation, the Lipa-Ratner Museum, and several of those. They have legal requirements, though, to be audited on a schedule and submit those to the Secretary of State's office on the schedule or Department of Education. This board must receive those audits and then approve them and move them forward. So this is a fiduciary matter for both the Foundation, Alumni Association, Lipa-Ratner, and then our new Institute for Strategic Policy Studies. We sent on the separate cover the audits themselves, right? Everybody received those. Okay, good. And
these are also the groups that we back up and we go to these meetings. For example, in the support organizations that we are supposed to be going to the meetings. I think I'm scheduled to go to Lipa-Ratner here soon with Dr. Carney. We've been talking about that. So we just need a motion for items G 1, 2, 3, and 4 to accept these audits.
Second.
It's been moved and second. Any discussion?
Dutifully moved and second.
Any discussion? No discussions. All signify by saying aye.
Aye.
None opposing. And we're down to the President's report.
Mr. Chairman, just a couple of very easy things. I'm passing around the program for a two-day workshop that we had this week at our institute on civics education, but we had probably 50 or 60 faculty, 25 of the 28 colleges represented. Former Governor Bob Graydon was in attendance, and you know that Governor Senator Graham and Congressman Lou Frye are working very hard to keep the issue of civics education in front of our students, and we came up with a number of very good things. We're very pleased. You see, it's a pretty extensive program. Dr. Tom Furlong used his good offices to help organize it. Jim's folks out at Seminole did a fabulous job. Just a point of pride for all of us. Secondly, I'm passing around what is probably the next to final version of our All College Day program. Next Tuesday, we close the college for a professional development day. All employees are invited to the Clearwater campus. We have a full day of information sharing, team building. We have a great deal of professional development, a very focused approach this year to support those who will be doing the hard work with our developmental ed renewal. It's really got a nice atmosphere. You are welcome to come for all or an hour's worth if that's what you would like. There are box lunches. There's always room for 5 more within that. We're happy to have you join us for lunch. It's got a nice flavor to it. I generally make 3 one-hour presentations, the same presentation, but we invite different groups to the presentation so we can answer questions that are a little more. Please come. It's again, you don't have to give us a heads up. If you can squeeze it in your day for an hour or two, come by and catch some of the flavor. It's really been a very successful energetic enterprise for all of us. So, thank you. Mr. Chairman,
there we go.
There is one item from the Collegiate High School, as you may have seen. Okay.
Yes, sir. Ms. Metz.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, trustees, Dr. Law.
Are you on?
It looks like I'm on. I'll get a little closer to it. Okay. Good morning. I'm Starla Metz, the principal of St. Petersburg Collegiate High School. Thank you for the opportunity to bring forth 2 items for your consideration this morning. I am requesting approval of the Collegiate High School audit first. All of you should have received a copy of the audit for your review. I'm very pleased that once again there were no findings and there were no recommendations for improvement. Do you have any questions for me regarding the audit? Okay. The second item is the salary increase allocation fund plan. As you may recall, Governor Scott and the legislature set aside funds for a salary increase for K-12 employees. These funds come from the state to Pinellas County Schools and then to the Collegiate High School. The total allocation is $38,052. St. Petersburg Collegiate High School employees are college employees, and we are compensated using the college pay scale. Therefore, we received the 2.5% increase, as all college employees did this past July. So if you look at the plan, the $26,902.30 is the 2.5% increase that we already received. The balance of the $38,052 is $11,149.70. And the guidelines for the allocation allow us to use these funds towards the increased retirement cost this year. Therefore, the recommendation is that we would use the funds in this manner. This allows the college to treat the collegiate high school employees as they do all other college employees. This form is required for your approval to be submitted to Pinellas County Schools as part of their plan that will go forward to the state. So I am respectfully requesting your approval. Do you have any questions on the plan?
Any questions, board members? Thank you, Ms. Metz. Do I hear a motion to accept the funding plan as well as the audit from the Collegiate High School?
So moved.
It's been moved.
Second.
Properly second. All signify by saying aye.
Aye.
None opposing. We accept it. Thank you, Ms. Metz. Ms. Metz, I will tell you, though, I am often getting into an argument with Mayor Frank Ordis about who has the best high school in the state. So I want to make sure that we end up #1 next year. The Pembroke Pines, city of Pembroke Pines has a charter high school, and they do pretty good, but I keep telling them that they're nowhere near St. Pete Collegiate. So I just want to make sure we end up being 1 because I keep arguing with this guy. So, all right.
Thank you. We are doing our best.
All right.
#1 is my goal. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
If we don't have any future agenda items, board members, do you have any future agenda items? None?
I think we are in Tarpon Springs next month, are we not?
Yes, we are in Tarpon Springs next month. Remember
So
that.
leave early.
Yeah, leave early.
Leave
Leave
early.
Monday. Leave Monday,
I was going to say leave Monday.
You won't make it in 30 minutes, all right? Just telling you.
I can't get here.
So next month we'll be in Tarpon Springs. Dr. Law, you have anything else?
No, sir. Thank
Any
you.
board members have anything else? Thank you for coming. Our next meeting's in Tarpon Springs, November 19th. See you there.